So, hello everybody. Today I'm going to discuss the basics of the ketogenic diet. So, what is being in ketosis? Being in ketosis means we will switch from mainly burning sugar to mainly burning fat. And actually, that is pretty natural. Now, how come it's natural to be in a state of ketosis? If we go back to our ancestors, what happened is they had abundance of food, berries, fish, roots, etc. And then they went through periods where they had nothing to eat. So what happens is when we eat mainly carbs and protein, our insulin will go up, and insulin is what we call a nutrient sensor. It will allow us to internalize glucose into our cells and produce energy, which is fundamental, of course. We need energy all the time. And that energy, we will use it straight away for our vital functions, and then of course to hunt, search for food, or nowadays go up the stairs, play tennis, or whatsoever. The excess sugar will be stored in 3 compartments in the body: in the liver, in our muscles, and in our fat cells. Now, in the liver and in the muscles, we will store sugar as glycogen, so it's sugar linked to each other. Now, what happens is when we stop eating, insulin will go down, and after 6 hours we will be in a state of fasting, right? But we need energy. So what will happen is another hormone will tell the liver to release glucose progressively to be able to give sugar to the cells in our body that need that. Now, there are some misconceptions. First of all, when we look at the food pyramids, we have a big base of carbs. Now, when you think of carbs, you think about chocolate and things like that, but it's also rice, pasta, bread, etc. Now, why do we have such a big carb base? Because it is thought that the brain needs sugar all the time, carbs all the time to make energy. That is wrong. The brain does need energy, but the brain can function in 2 ways: with sugar or with ketone bodies. Now, it cannot function 100% on ketones. I'll come back to that. So the second misconception is that we need carbs. We have to eat them. Actually, if we don't eat carbs, our body will produce them from either protein or fat in a process that we call neoglucogenesis. We will take protein and we'll take fat and we'll make sugar. Now, when we eat, we have to find some protein and fats in our diet because we can't make them. But carbs, we can make. So that's the second misconception. Now, the glycogen stores in the liver and the muscles are short-term energy stores. We will deplete those stores in 12, 24 hours, for example. What will happen then is that we will switch from sugar burning to fat burning. So that happened regularly for our ancestors. Suddenly they had no food, so they switched to fat burning, and that's the other place where we store energy. When we have excess sugar, after storing in the muscles and in the liver, we are going to store the extra sugar in our fat cells, but it's our fat, of course, and that is our long-term energy stores. Without that, we would not be here today. So, our ancestors who were thin, skinny, and did not have any fat stores died. All right? So, when we switch to our long-term fat stores, we will be in a state of ketosis, and it is the liver who will produce ketones. And as I said, the brain likes to function with ketones, but it can't function at 100%, about 60-70%. And the glucose that it needs will come from neoglucogenesis. Some other cells in the body can also not function with ketones, for example, our blood cells. There are 2 ways to get into ketosis. Either we stop eating, and when we've depleted our glycogen stores, we will go into fat burning. We do have the genes, we inherited those genes to be able to go into ketosis, but let's say our body is rusty. We have to get the cellular mechanisms going, the enzymes produced. So that is a tough way to start a ketogenic diet, right? Our ancestors were switching on and off into ketosis, so for them it was easy. But if we start a keto diet, it's not the easiest way to start. Let's go back historically and look why the ketogenic diet was invented. Well, children who had epilepsy, it was noted that when they fasted, it protected them from crisis. But it's of course difficult to ask a child to fast for 1-2 weeks, and some children did not have enough fat stores in the body. So the ketogenic diet was invented at the beginning of the century to mimic a fasting state, right? So how do we do that? We have to reduce insulin. Of course, if insulin is high, that means we are eating and the nutrient sensor is detecting food, then we are not going to go and use our body fat. That's logical, at least mainly. So what we have to do to get into ketogenic diet is pretty simple. We have to reduce insulin. Now, how can we do that? What stimulates insulin? Many things, but in terms of food, it's mainly carbs and also protein. So the ketogenic diet will be high in fat, very low in carbs, and moderate in protein, all right? So in terms of carbs, we are allowed to eat per day what we call about 20 grams of net carbs. Net carbs means that we will take the total carbs and we will deduce the fiber. Fiber is fundamental for the gut, so we can take that away and we'll have what we call net carbs. So you can have 20 grams of net carbs a day. Some people will function fine with 50 if you're young and have a very fast metabolism. If you have cancer, it's better to go even lower than 20. So it's going to depend on each person, but let's say basically we will need 20 grams of net carbs a day. So what will we be eating? Cereal is full of carbs, so no cereal. But cereal is bread, pasta, rice, etc. Quinoa. Then what about fruit? So fruit is healthy, of course, but some is full of sugar. So we won't be eating bananas, mangoes, pineapple. We will be eating berries, like our ancestors. We can have a little bit of lemon juice, and then don't forget tomato, peppers, avocado, olives. That's fine. So then what else? Vegetables, all the vegetables above the ground, and mainly the green vegetables, so asparagus, spinach, zucchini, salad, all that is fine. If we go below the ground, we get high in carbs. So we're not going to eat potatoes, we're not going to eat too much onion, things like that. That is higher in carbs. Then we have the legumes. So legumes are very healthy, but to get into a ketogenic diet, they are too high in carbs. So we're not going to eat chickpeas, lentils, peas, things like that. Now, what about meat, fish, eggs? That is not a problem, okay? There's not many carbs in those kind of foods, but of course they contain protein. And one of the mistakes in the keto diet is to go too high in protein. Protein in excess will stimulate insulin, right? Especially if it's not combined with fat. So it is a moderate diet in terms of protein. Don't forget that if you are in excess protein, that protein will become sugar and then fat. Of course, we can eat plenty of fat, but be very careful which fat. So we're going to be eating avocados, fatty fish, nuts, good quality oils, and we're going to eat plenty of that. Now, if we do that, what is going to happen? Insulin is going to go down, and we are going to have that metabolic switch, and we're going to start burning fat, and we're going to lose weight, and we can lose weight pretty fast. Will you be healthy? Maybe not. So be very, very careful. If we eat plenty of fat, we'll be in the amount of 20 grams of net carbs a day. We'll be eating a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of fruit. I forgot the nuts. We're allowed to eat nuts and seeds, but not any ones. The top nuts in keto is pecan nuts and macadamia, rich in good quality fats, low in sugar. We're not going to be eating the cashew nuts. Those are the ones we love. or the pistachio nuts. Those are the ones we love, all right? But if we do that, what's going to happen is we're going to lose fat, yes, but it is a very restrictive diet and we can clearly lack vitamins, minerals and antioxidants. So my advice is, if you start a ketogenic diet, please go and consult a specialist in the ketogenic diet to be sure that your diet is balanced and healthy. And don't forget that a diet is short-term. You never do a diet all your life. A diet, by definition, is short-term. So you'll do the ketogenic diet a certain time and then we'll switch to something else. Now, what is so fascinating and interesting about this ketogenic diet? What I think is that it is amazing because compared to all the other diets you've all tried 1,000 times, the difference is you are allowed to eat butter, cheese, fatty fish, nuts, avocado. Can you imagine? And it's a diet. Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is healthy and it's full of fat, but it's good quality fat. And what's going to happen is you're going to feel full. You're not going to feel frustrated. You're not going to want to eat all day sugary foods. You're going to space out your meals and you're going to be able to maintain this diet a certain amount of time. And that's what's so amazing. Now, if done well, this ketogenic diet can be very healthy, but it must be done properly. That's I think is the main issue. What's going to happen? We're going to be full of energy. We're going to have a very clear mind. You will probably lose pretty easily weight, even though you're eating fat. Really, it goes against everything we've learned. And it's so beneficial that currently it is used in combination with conventional medicine to treat type 2 diabetes, inflammatory disease, cancer, etc. So I think this diet is really fascinating. I've been doing it for a long time, but in a special way. As I said, a diet is not done on the long term. I'll come into that more in detail in other videos. So definitely, if you've been trying to lose weight, if you've been doing ups and downs in your weight, which is really bad for you, I'd say give a try to the ketogenic diet. That's all for today. As I said, it was the basics on the ketogenic diet. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. And of course, I'd be very interested to know what you think about the ketogenic diet. Are you tempted to try it? Have you already tried it? Please give me your suggestions for other subjects. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be sure to be informed about the other sessions. Bye for now.